All right, good afternoon. My name is Bill Barhydt. I'm the founder and CEO at Abra. Today I'm going to give you an update on what we've been up to over the last year, and then I'm going to show you something that we announced an hour ago that we've been working on actually for a couple of years. All right, so today we run 3 services as a company. We've got a couple million users, so I'm guessing some of you already know this. Abra Trade, our bread and butter, is now operating in over 100 countries. This is a US number. I think the number here is probably closer to 140 cryptocurrencies and growing. Zero-fee trading, any-to-any trading pairs, have unlimited. I think we're the only company in the world that offers unlimited global wires into the Abra account, and you can actually earn yield on those deposits as well via Abra Earn, which I believe is by far the safest yield on crypto assets available today. We've now processed, I believe, over $1 billion in loans. I'll come to that in a minute. This is going to be an exciting part of what I want to talk about, but we're already paying very high yield on dollars, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a bunch of other crypto assets. No limits on deposit size. We designed it for ourselves as the management team at Abra. We all use it. It's the only service we use to manage our crypto deposits. We give you over-the-counter trading access if you want to move between holdings in the app. And we have not only retail through the app, but we have direct institutional account support. So if you represent a trust or a family office or a business that wants to get yield either on dollars or crypto, it's a fantastic way to earn very simple yield in a managed account model. And then lastly, earlier this year, we opened up our institutional lending product to consumers, Abra Borrow, and it's a great way to borrow against crypto holdings. In English, that means if you're holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, you don't want to sell it, but you want to access the gains, you can stake the crypto and we'll lend you dollars. We launched a zero interest option earlier this year, which has proven wildly popular. I believe we're the only company in this space to do that. If you're willing to stake for a low LTV, you can actually borrow for zero interest and just roll it over forever. Okay? We support Bitcoin, Ethereum as collateral. I expect we'll support more cryptos in the future. And it's live in 50 countries, and we're adding, I think we're up to 43 US states as well, adding more locations all the time. Our team has done a fantastic job with this. So as I mentioned, we're up to almost a couple of million users now. We announced new funding last week, and we just closed the rest actually today, but I can't tell you who they are yet, so we're going to announce that soon. We're processing about $1 billion in assets under management, probably more than that given the run-up in the last few days, and I believe we're closer to $5 billion now in transactions processed so far, and the number is growing very, very quickly. So what I want to give you some insight in as to what I've actually been spending most of my personal time on as it relates to crypto for the last couple of years. I spend a lot of my time thinking about the token economy, right? We're all integrated into this kind of little crypto, ever-expanding bubble where, you know, we all know each other now if you've been in this space for more than 5 years, and everything's crypto, 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 but we don't think about the real world, right? Our largest shareholders, besides myself, is American Express. And American Express really doesn't understand our world at all, right? They're interested, they're excited, that's why they invested, but they don't understand it. That's part of why they invested. And so I've been thinking nonstop for years now about how to integrate this new economy into their existing economy, right? And if you think about it, who is the most kind of aspirational kind of reward system in the world, right? It's probably American Express. At least that's what I come up with when I think about it, right? So I've been thinking nonstop about how to integrate the token economy, excuse me, into existing economies. And at the same time, create a compelling model for Abra that allows us to bridge the gap between reward systems in the existing world that we all know and love, whether it's airlines or cards or whatever, and traditional crypto programs that are very popular now with DeFi and other services. So we spent months analyzing these first-generation app and existing exchange tokens, right? Very highly centralized. They all basically raised money in some type of security offering, which isn't necessarily good or bad, it just is. But in many cases, it creates misaligned incentives, in our opinion. It provides limited liquidity because certain people have a lot of control over the float. highly centralized governance for obvious reasons, although they'll claim utility status. And then, for better or worse, it's made a lot of CEOs very, very wealthy. So as we analyze this, we wanted to, again, bridge the gap about getting into this kind of real world and at the same time see if we could address these issues. So what if tokenized rewards and incentives were totally decentralized, meaning nobody owned them? Released for free to the world, somehow, usable via any app, not just crypto apps, but banks and games, right? We're all hearing about play-to-earn games. Well, what's the difference between tokens in a play-to-earn game and crypto today? If I was rebuilding Starbucks point system or Amex point system or airline miles, it all sounds very similar to me, right? And it could free float so that I could actually make the tokens fungible between other tokens that were already out there, similar to what many of these exchange tokens already do, and hopefully not used to enrich specific executives that may have been involved in creating the tokens in the first place. Okay, so we did this. We spun this out. So what I'm going to talk to you about right now, we don't own. It's already been spun out, and it's called Crypto Perks. It's a new type of token. The definition is new. The blockchain is existing. The first simple definition of this is Ethereum-based, although we're looking at other blockchains and multi-blockchain support. So give us a little time. I'll walk you through the details and why I think it's so exciting. It is the first fully decentralized rewards token system, and it will migrate over the next few months to a completely decentralized governance model. It is not issued and owned by Abra. I don't get any of it. My employees don't get any of it, with one exception, which I'll show you in a minute, which is the same way you're going to get it. And there's no token sale, right? We're not raising money via tokens. Even the foundation that I'm going to show you in a minute is not raising money via the tokens. Okay? And it will be usable via any app in the world that is willing to go through the grant process that I'm going to show you. So how will Crypto Perks work? Again, initially it's going to be ERC20 based, and a lot of people who are looking at next generation L1s are like, hey, use something better. Totally fine with that. I believe that it'll be multi-chains over time, but you have to start somewhere. This is where they've chosen to start. The Crypto Banking Alliance is a new, I don't know what the Swiss term is, but it's let's call it roughly a foundation based in Zug, Switzerland. That exists. It has a separate managing director who's floating around here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Thanks, Julian. And Abra has no formal ownership or governance role whatsoever in the organization. And again, any service or app or company or kids or whoever, games, will be able to apply for a token grant. And there will be no token-based presale or token-based fundraise whatsoever. Okay? So now, of course, it makes sense, given that, what I've been talking about, that the first user of the CPRX token is going to be Abra. Okay? So now I'm going to talk to you about a new reward system. Let's call it a massive global test that we're going to run to prove that this works, and we're not going to risk anyone's money to do it. All right? So follow me for a second. So if you use Abra today, or going forward, right, you're going to receive cash back on all Abra trade transactions paid out in CPerks, bonus yield. So you're going to, if you're holding Bitcoin, you're going to continue to get interest paid in Bitcoin. If you're holding USDC, you're going to continue to get interest paid in USDC. But on top, you'll receive rewards paid in CPRX. If you borrow, right, through the Abra Borrow, you're actually going to get rewards back on the principal, right, in the form of what we call negative interest, which effectively lowers your overall rate on the borrow. Right? And if you're borrowing at a low enough LTV where you're paying zero interest, it's a really good deal. And not only will we pay an ignition reward in CPRX for new users, but for existing users, there's going to be a really big airdrop coming up as well. Next week, I'm going to talk about this in the next slide, but next week we're going to launch a referral URL system for CPRX, which we're hoping acts as kind of a demo for other apps and games that would use a similar model to get into the token economy. And we're already working with the Alliance to get CPRX listed on multiple exchanges, and it will be at launch time. And I'll give you the details of the dates in a second. So as I said, at launch, starting next week, Abra.com and the app will have built in a personal link where you can share, get CPRX for sharing the app. And again, for us, not only is it exciting that people will get rewards, but we're also looking at it like a big global test to prove that this type of token economics can be scaled up quickly and scaled across eventually multiple applications, starting with Abra. Okay? So as I said before, there's going to be really big accelerators as part of this kind of global launch. During the first 60 days, we're probably going to give away upwards of 15% of the entire token allotment that's given to Abra. So to be clear, Abra is only getting a chunk of the tokens that's way less than 50%. Right? So the idea is that the vast majority of the tokens will go to lots of different apps. Okay. So the Accelerator Rewards, 15% will actually be given away over the first 90 days of our grant, not of all of them. Right? So you'll get 2.5% cash back on trades, which is way more, right, than the spread on a trade. Right? So you're actually getting paid to trade effectively. 5% yield. So back to my earlier point, if you're earning 8% today on USDC, which I believe is what we're paying, you'll get the 8% in USDC and then the 5% on top in CPRX. Again, and then if you're borrowing, you'll get 5% back on the principal in the form of CPRX. And lastly, that referral link I showed you before will pay $25 worth of CPRX. Okay? And effectively, you're going to get an airdrop for whatever you do starting now, right? The target yield that we're looking at is 13%. Impossible to peg, but we think the economics will work out that it will more or less come out to 13% because the token is free floating on exchanges. So the ultimate yield will depend on the value of CPRX. And nothing like this has really ever been done before because usually the value of a token is set via token sale. We didn't want to do that. So this was, in the back end, very complex, but on the front end, really simple, right? So we hit the complexity of how to do this, and we're working with our exchange partners to make sure this works really smoothly. This is launching on November 15th. The referrals will be live next week. Over the first several months, not only will you see more exchanges and DEXs come online, but you'll see third-party apps, both crypto and non-crypto. And I'm probably more excited, besides Abra, of course, for the non-crypto apps, looking at things like retail, gaming, credit card systems, anything that where some type of points or rewards makes sense, and integration into the digital realm makes even more sense. So to summarize, CPRX is going to be the first fully decentralized token-based economy that is interoperable with any app that wants to have a rewards component. Abra is going to be the first, hopefully, of hundreds of partners into the Crypto Perks ecosystem. We are going to make Crypto Perks, or CPRX, our rewards token at Abra. Right? So it's the first time, to my knowledge, that a large company has given up control over how its own reward system is managed. So we're taking a risk, but we think that this is the best way to create kind of an open token economy within Abra. And as I said, it will include cash back on trades, higher yield on Abra Earn, cash back on Abra Borrow, customer referrals and incentives. So as I said, we analyzed every major token and app, every exchange and app token that we could find, right? And probably created hundreds of pages of notes. We have this big, huge slide deck internally, which more or less shows everything out there. And this led us inexorably to this model. We couldn't figure out anything better than this to open this up to the world. And so that's why Abra Perks is now based upon this Crypto Perks token, which again, we're opening up to the world. So as I said, we're launching this as part of Abra on November 15th. Exchanges will be announced throughout the month of October and November. There will be actually several, from what I understand, which is great. And after that, not only are we going to be announcing more apps, but we also want, again, all of you who have interesting applications, not just in crypto, but in other aspects of retail and banking, to become part of this rewards ecosystem and the token economy. So you can get going now. This is part of our kind of application, standard app for Abra going forward, but we also consider this separately a big global test to see how together we can start to create a crypto economy. And so in that regard, we're really excited about getting feedback from the community as we go. So yeah, that's Crypto Perks. Thank you very much.